I'm Tommy Scoville, and this is The Love Boat. How are you? We're going to have a conversation tonight. And I'll tell you something, people. The training wheels are pretty much on the curb. Krista Melinda, good to see you. Just Joan, what's happening? Archie's mom, good to see you. Barbara Aldrich, Brock, Band-Aid. There he is. Krista Melinda, Johnny Scoville says, all my friends. Barbara Waite, good to have you here. I don't know if I said Just Joan, but I can always say it again. Joe, what's happening? Just Jones, Archie's mom. We're doing it. We're doing it right. Sandy Wendy, what's happening? Cindy G, good to see you. Hey, yeah, how are you? All right, we're going to get into this a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to say some hellos to people in a little while because I do want to. Jeremy Fowler, good to see you. But you know something? I'm going to do a warning. This is not my style, but this ought to be good for a laugh. Johnny, check this out. You ready? Trigger warning. I'm going to be discussing some things tonight, and I'm going to tell you my opinions on some things because I don't care anymore.
I don't care anymore.
You heard him. I don't care no more. Renee B, good to see you. Tommy Bird, what's happening? I'm glad you're here. China and Smut, are you kidding? Good to have you here. Waves from the back. Good to have you here, darling. Glad you're here. And let me start by saying this. Straight up. Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Hey, Natalie. I don't hate anybody. You may not believe that, but I don't hate anybody. There are some people out there that have made enough videos on me to gag a maggot. And yesterday, somebody sent me a screenshot of an arrest photo of one of them. This person got arrested for doing what she's done to me for a really long time. I happen not to be one of the people that press charges, but other people did. And she's been arrested. Raven, good to see you. And I'm here to tell you, I take absolutely no joy in that. Scooby Lee, what's happening? I don't want that to happen. There's nobody that I want to see in prison. That may come as a shock to you, but there's nobody I want to see in prison. I take no joy in that. In fact, I found it a bit uncomfortable. And I know that it wasn't sent to me to go, hey, go spike the football. It was sent as a, can you believe this? Can you believe that this is where we've got to? But the answer is I absolutely believe that this is where we got to. We don't listen to one another anymore. So I'm going to tell you some things today, and it's going to piss a couple of people off. And you know what? You're allowed to tell me that it upsets you. You're allowed to tell me why. And we can have fantastic conversation. Things have happened in the last 4 or 5 days. People have left comments that in the past, I just would have gone, you know what, I'm deleting this. I'm deleting this. There's no reason. This is just, it's debate, and it's not even nice debate. And in every case, I reached out and said to them, hey, let me tell you why. This is my opinion, and here's what I think. And at least we're talking about this, right? The number of people that went, yeah, you're absolutely right. I love this. I love talking about this. So let's talk about some things. First, Charlie Kirk was shot. We all know this. Jimmy Kimmel just got laid off by, or not laid off, I'm sorry, suspended by ABC News. Do you know what suspended means? Hey, Sonny, how are you? Suspended means they want to see. Probation. Yes, like double secret probation. They want to do a little bit of a taking of the pulse of all of their audience to see how many people are really pissed off that this guy got suspended and how many people are really excited. And then they'll make a decision based on that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about him first, because this is the last person who is catching heat because of things he said about Charlie Kirk. And he went out and said, the MAGA people are bending over backwards trying to pretend that this guy isn't one of them. Now I got news for you. If your girlfriend has a penis, you're probably not racking MAGA. You know what I'm saying? Probably not a MAGA thing. If your girlfriend still has a penis, you're probably not big into MAGA because, oh, no, I did. I went there. The thing is, that's kind of not how it goes. Now, I don't give a crap what you do with your girlfriend. And whether your girlfriend was born a boy or anything else means zero in my life. Zero. I'll tell you the things that make me angry because I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I love women across the board. I'm a man, right? I was born that way. I love women. If it really took off massively that women started to transition to men and accept roles and responsibilities that men were kind of famous for, and next year someone who had been a man for 3 weeks got named Man of the Year, I'd lose my mind. I would think to myself, you got any idea how many people out there are men that maybe ought to get this award? About 4 billion of them last time I counted. So I don't like seeing somebody that was a man 2 years ago get Woman of the Year. If that makes me a bad person, go ahead and unfreaking subscribe. You don't have to say bye on the way out. I don't like it.
You do have to.
Yeah, I like women. If that makes me a bad person, you know what? Piss off. I'm sorry. I mean, we can have a discussion about it. I'm cool with that. No, this is some of the stuff that was said. How are you offended by this? Honestly, I'd like to defend women. If that bums you out, all right. I mean, I'm not for everybody. I'm definitely an acquired taste. You know what my old man said to me and my brother when we were really small? We were really young and we were having pizza. And my dad said, I'm going to order anchovies on this, but only on half of it. And we said, why half? You know? And he goes, I don't like anchovies. And I was like, then why are we putting anchovies on this pizza? And he said, because you might. And I said, all right. And the anchovies came. And you know something? Both of us loved it. Me and my brother absolutely love anchovies. We eat them on most of our pies to this day. But they're hairy little fish, and most people don't like them. It's kind of like smoking menthols back in the day. Someone would go, hey, man, you got a cigarette? And you go, yeah, I got a Newport. And half of the people would go, no, I'm good, right? I don't want that. And that was kind of a thing. But I love anchovies. And my dad said, do you like them? And I said, I do. And he goes, you know, anchovies are a lot like you guys. And I said, how's that? He goes, people are going to love them or hate them. You're never going to meet anybody that goes, put them on there. I can eat them. I can not eat them. That's you guys. People are going to love you or hate you. There's something in the Bible about warm and cold and hawking something out your mouth. I am what I am. There are people that aren't going to like it. And that's okay. You know, if we're not on the same page, we can be best of friends and still not be on the same page. All right. I'll tell you a story. I went to the fish tank in the state of Nevada. The fish tank is where you go when you first get into the joint. And it's where they try to break you. I'm not kidding. So the first thing they used to do back in the day, now keep in mind, this is pre-PREA. Should I say that 4 times fast? This was pre-PREA. PREA was the Prison Rape Elimination Act, and it did everything within its power to make sure that men weren't embarrassed solely because they were men and they should be able to take it. But prior to PREA, the way they did it in Nevada is they put you in the middle of a room that had about 256 cells around it in like a rotunda, circular deal. And they said, take your clothes off. And you stand in the line and you get naked. And the guys in the cells yell stuff out like, dude on the left's got a purty mouth. Stupid stuff that's supposed to intimidate you. This was by design. The guys that couldn't take it pissed their pants. And I don't mean that figuratively speaking. A lot of them lost their bladders out of fear. And they would take those people and put them somewhere where they weren't going to be in general population. It was a way of shaking the tree a little bit. But my first cellie got in deep trouble because he was a jackwagon and he did something to a cop and they removed him. And they brought a guy in and they said, hey, man, we want to put somebody in your cell. And I was new. I'd never been to prison. Been there about 3 weeks. And I go, okay, then bring the guy in. What's the big deal? He goes, he's gay. And I promise you, I went, and? Like, what do I care that the dude's gay? What's this got to do with me? He goes, well, there are people that really freak out about that. I'm pretty secure in my sexuality. You want to talk to me about religion? I'm pretty sure that I'm comfortable in my religious beliefs. So I can talk to you about yours. I could talk to a gay person till the end of time about everything it is in his life because I'm really pretty confident that I dig chicks. You follow me? So I didn't give him this name. I never would have. But his name was Gay Jason. And I had the pleasure of living with Gay Jason for 3 weeks. And he was one of the greatest cellmates ever. We got sent to 2 different prisons. But this dude was one of the greatest cellies ever. And one of the first things he said to me is, I lay it down in prison. And I go, I don't know what that means. And he said, I don't make contact with men inside because it opens you up for a lot of problems that you're going to have because I don't do it. I'm no threat to you. And I assume you like women. I said, I do. He goes, so you're no threat to me. And we cohabitated. And as I've said a million times, we found the things that we had in common. One of them was he liked the Grateful Dead, right? So that was a wrap because we could talk about Dead shows till the end of time. Everything was groovy. And days would go by, right? Because you would go every 72 hours, you got out, or I'm sorry, every 48 hours, you got out to make a phone call for 15 minutes and a shower. All of it had to happen in 15 minutes. Phone call, mail, anything had to be 15 minutes. And people would come up and go, how are you living with this dude? And I'd go, I don't understand what you mean. And they'd go, he's gay. And I promise you, I would forget what the hell they were talking about until they said that. And I'd go, who cares, man? Who cares? I don't care whether you're gay or transsexual or I don't know. Did I say that wrong? Am I losing subs?
No, you probably are.
Transgender. Sorry, transgender. I can't keep up with it. I'm cool with whatever life you want to live. Now, don't bring that life to my doorstep and tell me how I have to live. Follow me? Savvy? I like women. If somebody comes to me and says, well, I'm gay, I don't go, you really need to catch a female partner. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? I don't do that. So maybe don't come to my house and say, here's how you have to address me. I'd rather just not address you, period. I mean, honestly, unless we're friends, I don't talk to heterosexuals I'm not friends with. Don't tell me what I have to call somebody, right? These are pretty basic concepts that seem to make sense to me. Freedom of speech? Jimmy Kimmel has freedom of speech, folks. He went out on his show and he said, the MAGA people are trying to twist this to make it look like it wasn't one of them. Well, it sure as hell wasn't one of them. It was a left-winger. It was a lunatic left-winger. Fringe, way out there on the outer ridge, right? The bad part of any party is the fringe. But he was a fringe guy. And he was radicalized by whatever, I don't care. And he shot this dude. What Jimmy Kimmel said, he has the right to say. And people go, well, there's no free speech or he wouldn't have gotten fired. No, if there was no free speech, he'd be in prison. Catch it? Is this making sense? You can say anything you want, but you have to deal with the repercussions of it socially. The society will decide if you're a douche nozzle, and then they will prosecute you for that by firing you, not talking to you, ostracizing you, whatever the case may be. You can say the hard R-N word all you want. And people are going to assume you have sex with your sister, you live in a trailer, and that you fish for a hobby. That's kind of the stereotypes, right? Because who makes that model anymore? Racists are still built. I thought they discontinued that model in the 50s, right? But you can say anything you want. I'm happy as hell Jimmy Kimmel is in trouble. Not because of what's going on right now, but because I am old and I remember Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe you guys don't. He started out on a program called The Men Show. Put a deuce in the chat if you remember The Man Show. He and a guy named Adam Carolla, and they were young men, and it was a different time, and blah, blah, blah. Barbara Waite, good to see you. How are you? Relatable Reese, I'm happy you're in the house. What's up, Scoob? Hey, Sonny. Hey, John. Honey Lou, what are you doing? So he had a show called The Man Show, and when they came on, they promised a couple of things. They were going to drink a lot of beer. All right, no biggie. That's kind of a man thing. It was a man show. I was young. And more women jumping on trampolines. Sexist, to be sure. But I'll tell you something. There's nothing wrong with admiring a woman jumping on a trampoline. Maybe don't put it on a show and brag about it, but guys like the female form. That doesn't make you a bad person. But in that same show, and you can Google this, please do, but wait till the show's over. He liked to run up to women on the street and pretend to sniff their butt while people filmed them. Now, the women weren't aware of this, or if they were actors who were paid to pretend that they didn't know he was doing this. He also did some stuff in blackface. Now, try that if you're on the other side of the aisle. This man has been celebrated at the very top of the Hollywood elite. And I think he's a piece of human trash. That's my humble opinion. More importantly, he doesn't make me laugh. And if I show up at a late night show, I don't want politics. I can watch that 24/7 on any one of those indoctrination channels like Fox or CNN or CNBC or MSNBC or LSD or whatever the hell you're watching that's telling you you're right. Those people suck, but you're right. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. This guy's a piece of trash who will come on and trash people for things that they do that made him famous. The Man Show. Go watch it. Catch 3 episodes of The Man Show and tell me this guy isn't a pig. I wasn't like him then. I wasn't. Wine a little bit more. Good to see you. You know what? I'm sorry, but you had that coming. Denisha, how are you? You can't put a comment up there like this and not think that someone's going to grab it. In case anyone is wondering, I had a male friend tell me that men love bouncing boobies. Just a fact of life. See that? And now we have it absolutely verified by somebody that I trust wholeheartedly. Todd says something that, boy, that just resonates. You know what? You know what? Johnny went away. Here's the thing. Tell me right now, Todd, and I'll tell you something. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm not blowing sunshine. Todd brings comments that always make me think, which is really cool when you do what I do for a living. But Todd brings comments that make me think. So I want to put one back to you. Tell me what political affiliation that cat was. Please. Tell me what he was. Because I'll tell you what. I watched it with my dad every single night until it was over. If I was home, I watched it with my dad. We had a really good time with it. We watched the last show together. It was epic. Johnny was there.
Yep. Johnny, you were there.
Johnny, you were there. But I grew up on Letterman. I grew up on the late night monkey cam. I grew up on throwing footballs into the I grew up on him trying to get Terry Garr to take a shower on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The top 10 list. And I love David Letterman. It was a religion. I didn't miss it. I left bars because I wasn't going to miss David Letterman's top 10 list. It was a huge thing in my life. I'm betting he was a Democrat, but honestly, I don't know. He was never political. Booyah! Somebody spike a football. You know why? Because half of your audience were Democrats and half of your audiences were Republicans. Now, if the president took a header walking off of Air Force One, he was going to make a joke about it, but he didn't care which party the guy was for. It was very non-offensive. And now what we've done instead of that is we've said, if you offend me, I can kill you. If you start talking about a political, you write the name of a presidential candidate on the sidewalk, and I need a room where they play with Play-Doh and pet puppies so that I can cope. I got news for you. Get your you-know-what together. And I know I'm speaking to a generation that this isn't us. It isn't. Maybe we'll get lucky, though, and a couple of Gen Zs will see this. Honestly, probably not. Statistically speaking, you have a better chance of seeing God in sunglasses, but it could happen. Yeah, they would be Ray-Bans. Denisha says, David Letterman was great, wasn't he? I mean, it was fantastic. It was so much fun. And then one day, David Letterman started telling me how I ought to think. And you know what? This is going to sound awful, but here's the deal. Eddie Van Halen, you ever heard the Eruption solo? Honest to God, have you ever heard the Eruption solo? It's one of the greatest guitar solos of all time. Apparently, it was a warm-up for him, and then they put it on an album. But he would come out on stage, and it was finger taps, and it's the most unbelievable thing. If you've never heard it, think of this. Have you ever heard the Michael Jackson song, Beat It? Well, the guitar solo in that is Eddie Van Halen. Just such an amazing, right, guitarist. But he never came out and said, hey, if you vote for a Republican, you're a scumbag. For that reason, I love Eddie Van Halen. He got off of planet Earth. He also could have come out and said the exact opposite. I don't want somebody that entertains me to tell me how to think. I'm not telling you how to think. I'm just asking you to. You follow me? I don't give a crap if you agree with me. Hey, Josh, I just would love to have somebody say, how about a healthy dialogue about the things that we don't agree with? Have I ever checked up on the guy who's in prison lately? Thank you for asking. She's asking about my best friend. If you don't know who he is, there's a reason for that. Because I was really open and honest about timetables, when he was going to court, things of that nature, and it interfered in his life in a way that makes me want to hate myself. A guy that's never done anything wrong got sent to the segregated housing unit under investigation because trolls thought it would be cool to call him and tell him I'm mailing dope into the dude. And so many people did it that he got put in the shoe while they investigated it. And he went, oh, who cares? He goes, it was kind of funny because they've been talking about it for 30 years and I'd never seen it. Didn't make me feel good. In answer to your question, there hasn't been a week that's gone by since I left the United States of America that I haven't been in contact with him. We do not talk very often because his speech is still something that I think he's less than comfortable with. However, his emails, he's as sharp as a tack, and I will keep you abreast. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to come on one day and say, here's what happened. I'm not giving anybody a bullseye to shoot at my friend with. I love him. I saved my life, but he really helped. Oh, and he's black.
Remember your brother Dwayne?
Remember your brother Dwayne? Whatever happened to agree to disagree and disagree without being disagreeable? I'll tell you something. You want to see something funny? You see this? That's relatable, Reese. This is for everybody listening. I'm a Christian. I'm a terrible person, but I'm forgiven. Nothing that I do on this planet, me going to that rehab isn't going to get me into the afterlife that I want to live in. Alex Moore, good to see you. It's not how it works. It isn't. It's not in my faith. The only reason I'm getting there is because I'm forgiven. But we're taught that we're supposed to do that as well. And Reese is one of my best friends on planet Earth. Some people are really bummed out by that as a concept. I got news for you. For those who think that it changed, we have been friends for a really long time. It was one of the things that gutted me about how things went down. I could probably lose a lover and live with it, but that was a friend I wasn't ready to lose. And the truth of all of that probably would never come out. Even if we were to tell you all of it, you wouldn't believe a third of it. But if I don't have a problem with the things that happened with that woman in my life, how is it that other people do? I find it fascinating. You know, you make 3,700 videos. If I decided to take down every one of them tomorrow, I couldn't. They would still be here. Right? They'd still be here. You can't get rid of anything on the internet. If there's a legacy of any kind, I would love for people to be kinder to one another and perhaps forgive each other. But more importantly, I hope that people can talk about things. And the amazing thing about me and Relatable Reese is that we agreed to have a conversation about what happened. You couldn't find two people on farther end of the spectrums on anything than the long con video. You simply couldn't. But when we sat down and started having a conversation, we realized that about 20% of what was going on was truth. About 80% was malicious garbage that people were trying to do to force agendas. That's our planet. If you believe everything that you're being told about Three Eye Atlas, then you're a fool. If you believe everything that you're being told about anything, you're a fool. If you don't realize that at this point, everything in media is designed to keep us looking over here because something's happening over here.
Wag the dog, baby.
Wag the dog. We are now being manipulated in ways that people can't dream of. You know what? This is pretty good advice right here. I've never tried to be perfect. It's something we can't achieve. I believe live and let live as long as it doesn't involve me or innocent people like children. Why do people care how people choose to live life? Well, like I said, there has been an individual who has recently been arrested for being a cyber bully. I'm not taking joy in that. I'm not. She's an old woman. She's like 73 years old. She reached out to me once and said, I really want to make friends and this and that. And you know what I said? I said, with the things that you've said about me, I don't think I want you to be a friend in my life. Seemed very logical to me. She went right back to making hate videos after spending 2 pages apologizing to me for all of the things that she said and saying, I feel like I made a mistake. Well, I got news for you. A lot of people made mistakes. A lot of people made mistakes. A lot of feelings got hurt. Charlie Kirk is the ultimate. A lot of people's feelings got hurt. But I'll tell you something. If I came into this blind, if I came into this and someone said, well, this guy's a political activist and he said that gay people should be killed, that transsexual people should be in prison, all of the lies that people are saying, and they said, what do you think? I'd go, it's hard to feel sorry that the guy's dead. That kind of would be the response. And that is a lot of Gen Z. All they've heard are sound bites, right? That other people say about this guy. He's a fascist. He's a Nazi. He's this, he's that. I got an idea. Shut up. Go listen to everything the dude said. Then come back to me and tell me all the things you pissed off about. Because some of you have sent me emails about Charlie Kirk that are bullshit. Sorry, not sorry. You guys have sent me emails that said, he said this, and this. I go, no, find it for me. I'll buy you a plane ticket down here and buy you dinner. Find me that quote. The reason that Jimmy Kimmel is stepping off that stage right now is because that jackwagon did the exact same thing. I couldn't be happier that people are losing their job. Free speech is fantastic. Exercise it. But have the huevos to know exactly what's going to happen to you if you exercise your free speech. Capiche? I'm doing it right now. Get a good look at whatever my sub count is because I'm going to lose a crap load of them tonight. And I don't care. That's free speech. I'm saying what I want. It's my channel. I'm going to say what I want, and I'm going to put up with the flack that I get afterwards, right? Free speech. We're not stopping anyone's speech. You might lose your job. I'm losing money. I promise you that. I say rape. I say sexual assault. I say child molester. You can't get paid on YouTube if you say those words. But if you don't, you're a sellout and a piece of vermin. Sorry. Maybe not everybody, right? I'm talking about what it is to me. When I go off, and I've been talking to a girl who tells me that 5 people did something to her that's going to change her for the rest of eternity. For all the time that she's on this planet, she's probably never going to be quite right, but she's going to work very hard to try to fix it. I'm not calling it grape. That's the stuff you eat, you buy at stores, or you press into wine. And it's not the same thing. And it trivializes it. And I'm sorry, I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. Maybe I'm stupid. People reach out all the time and go, your channel would be a lot bigger if you did this, this, and this. I have a bigger channel. Not sure I dug it. I'm not sure I dug it. Johnny did a show a little earlier. If you didn't see it, shame on you. If you did, go back and watch it. We were talking before he went live. There's a song called Ripple. And I talk about ripples constantly on the lifeboat, how the things that we do affect people all over the place. Those ripples go out for generations, right? One person gets sober, stops beating his girlfriend, gets a solid relationship. The kids never see mom and dad being those people. The world will never be the same because that person got sober. That's real, right? I mean, that's real. That there's no getting around that. That's kind of how it goes down. I'm terrified at the world that my kids live in. And you know what? I'm tired. On the bright side, I'm also liberated. We've had a lot of cool things happen with paperwork recently, and we don't share a lot of this because it brings more hate and it brings more people sending letters and all that, but it's getting to the point where their letters ain't going to mean squat. We got some paperwork as far as visa papers and all of that here. I'm about that close to this being my permanent home. And it's just paperwork. There's no doubt about what's happening. It's just a matter of the paperwork going through. And I'm very happy to live here. And it has nothing to do with the country. It has nothing to do with the direction of the country. It has to do with the hatred. If you have the conversation that I have and be open and honest about things and talk about them here, the hatred that comes at you, it came to my house. I had to beat a dude, right? For real. A guy attacked me at my house. And that was before the ship hit the sand. When people started calling authorities and telling them I'm involved in human trafficking, which, by the way, isn't part of my criminal curriculum vitae, it's time to get out of Dodge. But I am, for lack of a better way to put it, I've never been more at peace than I am right now. And it's not because of where I live. It's because I don't have to care anymore because of where I live. When I walk out the door tomorrow, no one's going to come up and go, Tommy, man, what you were talking about yesterday really irks my chain. I think I'll come by and vandalize your home. Those days are over. This is what it was like in the 80s. You guys probably remember this. People could actually have conversations. People didn't argue. It was a beautiful thing. Alex Moore, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Charlie Kirk wasn't a fascist. Charlie Kirk very much believed in the democratic system. He believed that there should be a House, a Senate. There should be different branches of government. He was absolutely nowhere near a fascist that believes that all of that gets abolished and one person runs the entire thing. What's the first thing you do as a fascist? You eliminate the people that don't agree with you. If they talk out against you, you kill them. This asshat demonstrated what fascism was while calling somebody who was an absolute purveyor of all things republic or democratic. A fascist killed him while calling him a fascist. And I don't care what his sexual preference is. You know what pisses me off? That I can't talk about his sexual preference or somehow I'm a bad person. He was sleeping with a woman that had a penis. Did you catch that? Hate me. It's a fact. We can't have facts anymore. Why? Because facts will absolutely drive you into the dirt. You can't have those conversations anymore. You simply can't. There is an entire group of people that cannot be criticized. Guess what? Screw you. I don't care about your sexual preference. I care that a bunch of people with the same sexual preference are ruining stuff. Sorry. Boy, this is going to really be bad.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't care anymore.
I don't care anymore.
I don't. It's the beautiful thing about, it's the liberation.
What you say.
It's liberation. I know. Who was sleeping with a woman who had a penis? That would have been the shooter that shot Charlie Kirk. His girlfriend was born a male and hadn't done the full transition yet, so still had some junk. And you know what? Couldn't care less. Why is it a part of the story? Because you're not allowed to talk about it. That's a bad thing to say, because here is a smallest segment of society that we have, and you're not allowed to offend them. Guess what? I don't care. Offend me. I got a big beak. I'm an ex-con. Go ahead. Take some shots. Right? Working the con man thing. A lot of people had a lot of fun with that one. I didn't hear one thing he said that was evil. I'm personally tired of people claiming he was evil and not giving examples. Well, Jimmy Kimmel gave an example, right? A lot of people are giving examples. They're getting fired for it because truth isn't objective. It's not your truth. So when Jimmy Kimmel comes out and says, this is a MAGA guy, look, I'm not trying to offend anybody here, right? But if you said MAGA, what do you come with? Gun control would be good, anti-abortion, lower taxes, smaller government. Does this sound familiar? Right? It's very split. We know what MAGA believes. They don't go, yeah, no, that trans thing's cool. You guys should get married even though your girlfriend has a penis. That's not normally MAGA talk. In fact, that's what they vilify MAGA for, right? That's what they blow up into. If they get in office, all gays will be killed. If they get into office, no woman will ever have birth control again as long as they live. All the bullshit that we've been listening to our entire life, What are the odds that every candidate that the Republicans put up for my entire lifetime was racist? What are the odds? There's got to be at least one of them that didn't hate black people. Am I crazy? That quote that I just said came from my best friend who was black. So if you think I sound like an entitled white dude, I'm quoting Q. I said to him one day, what do you think about the political parties? He goes, well, the odds that every single Republican that has been put up for office for my entire life was racist seems a little over the top to me. I got to agree with him. But on the flip side of that, every Democrat doesn't want communism. Everybody that voted for Biden doesn't want communism. But you know something? There are universal truths. I'm going to tell you one. I was in a taxi cab today. I was coming back from the rehab center. And we were celebrating the fact that today, hold on, I might be able to find the actual email. But we got our little certificate thing mailed to us that says, no, go ahead, stay around here. We like you. Right? So we got that today. And we're kind of bragging about it in the car. I was pretty excited about the whole thing. I'm not going to lie to you. And one of the guys in the car said, I went to America and I paid somebody to get me there illegally. And we went, wow. And he said it was almost 40 grand. And you would put the 20 up front. And then you would go to a stash house on the other side of the American border. And you would wait there until your family sent the other 20 grand. And then they would ship you to whatever state the agreement was for. That's how it worked. And I was like, wow. Johnny and I were silent, just listening to the guy. And I said, 40 grand. Do you know how much 40 grand is in Ecuador, people? It's like $500,000. Like, it's so much money. And we were just going, wow, that's insane. He goes, but when Biden, he meant Biden. He said, but when Biden got into office, you could get there for $1,000. So go ahead and hate me. But the fact is, when they were in office, you could walk across the border. He said it today. He said it went from 40 grand to 1,000. And I said, how's that possible? And he goes, well, you didn't need a coyote. And I said, the coyotes help get you to the border. He goes, no. The coyotes get you across the border. He said you could just walk with a train of people up there, carry enough money so that you could eat and do all that and walk across the border, but not until he was in office. Hate me for that. I'm not telling you a political opinion. I'm talking to a guy who has been doing this, who knows other people that did this. It's just plain a fact. Hate me for it. I'm cool. Honestly, got wide shoulders. I'm kind of getting used to it. Will, I love you, my brother. Proud of you. I mean that. I really do. I mean that. Right? Scooby says, if Charlie was so against discussion, like people trying to think, why did he have a conversation with a transsexual male once? He had a conversation with anybody that was willing to have a conversation with him. And if you do a little bit more research on this, you're going to find some stuff. And one of the things you're going to find is they went to him and said, you can't do this college tour. You're going to die. You know, there was enough info out there that there were fringe groups that really wanted this dude dead. And there were people who came out day one and said, well, he said he's willing to die for the cause. Guess what? He was. He was willing to die for the cause of free speech and communication between groups that disagreed. He was willing to die for that. It's probably not something to celebrate. But make no mistake, if he didn't believe that, he wouldn't have been there wearing a bulletproof vest. I don't think he was unaware of the fact that this was a threat. You don't usually put on ballistic plates on your chest unless you're afraid that someone might shoot you. I've always been a fairly big fan of those as well. The FBI shirts, female body inspector. Johnny did a show the other day where he talked about women and he talked about what he likes in women. You can't say things like that anymore either. Do you realize you can't say to a woman, wow, you look beautiful? For real.
You can say it here.
Boy, yeah, you can say it here. I mean, people, I get emails all the time and they say, I'm trying to get in my head like where you live. We live in the United States of America in any beach town in 1950.
30.
Well, except we have really cool phones, right? Right. We have really cool phones. But honestly, it's like, the water gets delivered, the ice gets delivered. There's a lot of things about this that's very much like living in the 50s. I don't trust the FBI either. I'm to the point right now where that was your first one? Will, how about that? Will, you made my day, man. Honestly, you made my day. I don't trust anyone, right? I'm sorry, I don't. And here's the thing. I'll piss off the other half. I loved Kash Patel. I was cheering Kash Patel getting in there. Cheering. He said he was going to take care of the Epstein stuff. He said he was going to do a lot of things. And I don't feel like that's happened. And here's the thing, folks. Brain pan, right? The Democrats held these files in their hand and didn't turn in Trump? You think he was in those files? Think of all the things they were doing to try to sink this man's presidency. They weren't going to go, by the way, he was banging kids in an island. Trust me, that would have been their lead.
Amen.
Okay, so they didn't do it. So the logic goes, well, when the Republicans get it, they're going to kill him. And then the Republicans get it and do the same thing. And now the Democrats go, it's because Trump's in there. Well, no, if Trump was in there, you would have let it out. What it is too much power in one place. There are so many names in there that are so powerful that you can manipulate the government if you don't let it out. We're not going to hear about Epstein. We're not going to hear about Epstein because we are so far off of where we designed ourselves to be that it's never going to happen again. Sorry, it isn't. Not without something massive happening. Massive. And it doesn't have to be a revolution for those people that want to shut me down. I'm talking about an Article 5 convention where 33 states come together and say, we need to fix this. And you can get back together and redo the Constitution. True story. And you know what? Maybe the Constitution needs a tweaking. I'm not saying the document ain't great. I'm not. But the guys that framed the Constitution didn't take into account that there would be computers, right, that can reach into your brain. And I'm not being funny when I say that. Now AI, predictive AI, is answering the next question you're going to ask before you ask it. I don't want that as a friend. I don't want that as a business associate. I don't want anyone or anything that is anticipating the next question I'm going to ask, because it doesn't take much more than about 1/1000th of a centimeter for them to just start doing this. And if it takes them 3 years or 4 years, it will steer you exactly where it wants you to, because you're going to come to believe that that AI is smarter than everybody on planet Earth. And that's not the case. It's not. It's a system of opening and closing doors to access information on computers. What it doesn't do is go, oh man, that sucks. My God, what you must be going through. Empathy and sympathy and the things that make us the same. I got news for you. If a black woman loses her child tonight to a drive-by shooting, she's not going to react any different than a white mother that loses her child to a drive-by shooting. Grief, joy, desire, all of these things are universal. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter your degree of education. We're all the same. Let's concentrate on all the things that make us different. We can divide us in half, and pretty soon we'll just destroy the planet pissed off at each other. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it? What is a suicide vest? A suicide vest is something that got very popular in the Middle East. And it was right around the time that Al-Qaeda was really kicking the hell out of it, right? And it's a bunch of usually TNT, right? The stuff that's in dynamite. It can also just be black powder, but it's compressed explosive inside of things to detonate that also have shrapnel in it. So very often it would be in a piece of PVC pipe or a piece of iron pipe, and it's going to have a wick on it or a timing and detonation mechanism. And when a person goes in, they detonate it. And that vest not only kills them, but a hell of a lot of other people. And it's a popular weapon among people who believe that if they're about to die, they're going to go meet God in a way where God's going to go, thanks for killing people. If that's your God, you need to do a little more reading. I wish I could give you $1 million, Tommy. What's happening in your country is so, so sad. History repeating itself in the world's way. You know what? Thank you, Stephanie. Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. It's changing. And maybe you don't see it. But maybe the reason you don't see it is because you watch people like me, but what you're not looking at is analytics. And if you look at the Love Boat, you go, man, I remember when Tommy was killing it. We're coming back right now. The number of views, the number of comments, the number of people who are hitting the thumbs up. Do me a favor, smack that thumbs up and do hit subscribe. We're trying to build. We're also trying to send a message to the algorithm. The algorithm is a reflection of who we are. This algorithm, right? We say algorithm, and it's just like we have accepted it like, here it is, right? This is your algorithm. And we don't even give it a second thought. The algorithm is a mirror that looks at you, sees what you like, sees what makes you watch longer. Because you can say, oh, I absolutely hate that. In the movie Howard Stern, they were talking about firing him. And one of the guys said, the average Howard Stern fan, and I'm making up the numbers, but it's for the point of the illustration, watches 45 minutes a day. And the guy goes, well, what about the average hater, though? And they said they watch for an hour and a half. right? The algorithm only cares how long you watch. It's designed to do one thing, and that's keep you watching. You understand? And it's going to reflect back the things you did. So here's my mantra for the rest of your time on planet Earth. If the stuff in your feed sucks, it's your fault. Look at positive stuff. Your feed will get filled with positive stuff. If you decide today that the only thing you're into is the Grateful Dead, it'll take about 14 days for everything in your feed to have a steal your face or a dancing bear on it. Bank on it. So if you're getting all of the people and you go, oh, I just get so much stuff in my feed about people who hate you because you watch it. I'm sorry. I mean, you might get one that pops up every 2 months, but if it's there constantly, it's because you watch it. And I don't care. I don't. You know why I don't care? Because on December 4th, 3 years ago, I stopped looking at hate. I stopped looking at hate. I don't do it. Oh, a bomber suicide vest and I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Thank you. A suicide vest in prison, they don't call a vest. I've never heard it called that before. It's called a smock by most inmates. It's also called the Barney Rubble suit. It's called the oven mitt. And most often by staff and other people, it's called a suicide dress. It is about a ½ inch thick. If you've seen booking photos of this cat, or if you saw him in court, he's wearing a green, very thick. It's so thick you can't twist it. The idea is they don't want you taking it and doing this number, right? And rolling it up and making a noose out of it to hang yourself. So it is so thick you can't wrap it up. To make sure you can't get yourself with the collar, it has Velcro on the top, Velcro down the sides. So if someone were to grab it and pull, it would just rip off of you. It's 2 pieces of a dress Velcroed together. Your blanket is made of the same material. It's about a ½ inch thick. You can't wrap it up. It's not a blanket, it's a cover, right? You don't get a pillow. Normally for the first 4 or 5 days, you don't get a toilet or a sink. You pee in a, what they call a urinal, which is a little handheld thing. When you say to somebody, I'm going to kill myself, and trust and believe that Robinson went in and said, I'm going to kill myself, they put him on suicide watch. And he's been on there about 7 days. New charges on Diddy. I will do a show on this in the next couple of days. Here's what you're going to hear about Diddy from me. I'll be the last guy to do a show on it because I'm not running out to be the first dude and to be wrong. I did that a lot, right? No one else admits that. I did a lot that was wrong. I'm not doing it again. So he's going to be on suicide watch until they deem him not a threat to himself. This dude didn't think this through. And this is very, very, this is something that's worth talking about. None of these people think this through. They look at Mangione and they go, the whole world loves this dude. And for somebody that feels like they are not a part of society, if you take somebody that is disenfranchised, if you get somebody that doesn't have a tribe, I can sell them anything. Honestly, you know how I know this? Because I spent a lot of time incarcerated and listened to people who say, Hitler was awesome, Jews suck. And you go, that dude didn't come in here like that. There's no way. They come in there and they're terrified and they have no tribe and they're alone and people are going to come at them. Turtle suits, Will's been there. It is definitely called the turtle suit as well. But people join gangs because they want to feel not just protected. People always go, yeah, he tipped up because he wants to be. No, he wants to feel like he's got a tribe. It's why there are people talking to each other in the chat. Outside of here, there's a lot of people on the boat that don't feel like they got a tribe, right? Here's the deal. That'd be a great name for a channel. He's right. I hate to admit it, but he's right. It'd really be a good name for the channel. Educate us on that bum, please. Which bum are we talking about? Because I could educate you if I knew what you meant. We need a tribe, right? We need a tribe. We need to feel like we belong. And this was such a part of society from the time that we invented fire. And then the greatest technology on the world separated us and turned us into people that could be the most hateful, nasty people on planet Earth. Yeah, I definitely will be I'll get Diddy, I promise. It can turn us into the bravest people in the world. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll say it without apology. If you've never seen me in person, I'm not a small dude, right? I'm a pretty big dude. I am. I'm about 6'2", and I'm normally about 210 pounds. Two of the people that have an awful lot of fun making videos about me, and I haven't seen one in 4 years. I'm telling you the gospel truth. I don't look. But all of you like to say to me, they're still making videos. If they lived 3 doors down, they wouldn't be. The cowards. This turns cowards into people who think they're heroes, right? Because no one's going to come and go, what did you just say? It was a better planet when guys used to get smacked around. I was talking to a guy today I said, I've never seen anybody arrested here. He goes, well, they just want to know you've learned a lesson. And I said, what? And he goes, yeah. He goes, have you ever go out to the bars? I go, no. Never gone out to a nightclub or a bar. I go to restaurants during the day and eat, but I don't go out at night. I just don't. I'm a homebody. I wouldn't go out in America at night. I just don't do it. But he said, if you see somebody come out of a bar acting like a jackass, and then they get in the cop's face and act like a jackass more, they're going to end up at the parking lot behind the bar. They're going to smack the crap out of them. Then they might drive them home. And he said it in a way that he would say, and eggs are now $2.36 a dozen. Like it was just so assumed. He was like, yeah, they'll smack the crap out of them. What they want is for the person to go, I'm not going to do that again. What a concept. Huh? Are you kidding? No, I'm a part of the tribe of Jesus. Well, there's a lot of that going around. By the way, it's spreading. Start looking at all of the people that you've watched over the years who said really foul things about religion who have found Jesus in the last couple of months. It's kind of fascinating, honestly. Maybe I'll do a whole show on that. Joe Rogan's a good one. Apparently he's spending a lot of time in church. I'll be honest. When all the bad gets to be too much for my soul, I watch cat videos and laughing baby videos. Just saying. You know what that is? Honest to God, it's a coping mechanism. Both of those things release dopamine into the system. It's a fact. Do you love living there? How's the heat, the health, food? Let's see here. Where was I? It went by really quick. Let's see. I'll find it. Yes, the answer to your question is I love living here. The healthcare is fantastic. The food is even better. Honest to God, when you move somewhere where they don't put stuff into your food, it takes about 3 weeks for you to notice, and then you just feel different. We had a problem. I'm going to recommend to everybody you don't drink hydraulic fluid. It takes a few weeks to get out of your system. But other than that, I mean, the food supply here has been absolutely amazing. The steak is the best that you've ever seen. Insanity. Thinking it's wrong to lose your job because of what you said. But what you said was Charlie Kirk should lose his life for what he said. What a quote. You shouldn't lose your job for what you said about Charlie Kirk, but he should lose his job for what he said. Yeah, he should lose his life for what he said about his opinions. What a fascinating quote, man. What a fascinating quote.
I thought you liked it.
Yeah, no. So I love it here, but I'll tell you what, I don't love it here because it's cheap. I don't love it here because it's 70 degrees every single day of the year, either a hot 70 or a cold 70, but it's always 70 degrees. I don't hate it here because the traffic is a non-issue. None of the things that other expats say that I love it here because I have never seen an angry person since I got here.
True story.
And I didn't get here yesterday. Like we've been here for a hot minute. I've never seen an angry person.
Even the drunk guy wasn't angry.
We did see a drunk guy really struggling to get across the street. But in America, I would have run to the other side of the street because a drunk dude, if you don't have pepper spray in your pocket, you don't want to be anywhere near him. The whales we watch constantly. In fact, we watched them today. And it was funny because Johnny goes, the problem with days like today is with the sun the way it is, you'll never see a whale. And I went, there's one. It was actually great. Can you ask where I am? Absolutely. I am in a city called Salinas, right? The city of salt. I'm in Salinas, Ecuador. So if you look at South America and you just go, well, that's the Pacific. We're the farthest point out into the Pacific that you can possibly get. We're actually maybe 2 kilometers from being as far into the ocean as you can be. But we are in the country of Ecuador in the city of Salinas, which would be in Santa Elena. And you know why I'm comfortable telling you guys that? Because we're probably going to move shortly. When we relocate, it will be different because even outside the country, asshats have a real vested interest in trying to destroy my life, which I find fascinating. What am I doing to them? Right? But here's what happens. It's just like a tribe. If you can get 25 people that hate, you can come together. If I'm bringing people together, I'm glad. Glad you guys are having a good time hating me. Sadly, it's not going to fulfill your life. It's just like filling your life with heroin. It's just like filling your life with cocaine or with alcohol or with any other substance. You want to fill your soul with hate? Plato said, I believe it was Plato. If not, someone will correct me, but I'm pretty sure it was Plato that said, man is built with a God-shaped void in his soul. Now, you look around the entire planet, and it's really rare that you come across a species, a tribe, a culture where they go, now when you die, you just go in the ground, there's nothing. Everybody seems to look to a deity, and for millennia, intelligent, folk has said that that is the opiate of the masses, right? Religion, belief in God is the opiate of the masses. It just keeps you, from being a jerk. But obviously, there's nothing real to it. I mean, the super intelligent know that until computers start getting rowdy, like the kind of rowdy you can't wrap your brain around, right? You could spend 200 years studying things in nature and not see patterns that a computer will find very quickly. And unfortunately, what you end up finding is intelligent design. Right? You can Google this. I'm not making this crap up. I got no vested interest in telling you things that aren't true, I promise. But all living things on this planet have mathematical equations that are identical to one another. And that kind of doesn't happen randomly in nature. So people are going, well, intelligent design. So we're living in a simulation, or intelligent design. We were built by aliens that came here. Look, come up with whatever you like. I'm not here to tell you how to live. But I've been screaming about intelligent design for a really long time, so I'm probably not going to go and switch the teams, especially when their predictions seem to be coming true. If you can't walk in your own shoes, you will always be walking on the wrong side of the road. I like that. One of my favorites for a long time has been, don't criticize somebody until you walk a mile in their shoes, because you'll be a mile away and you'll have their shoes. Who said that? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It was a comedian. He made me laugh. Stephanie says, I really don't understand hate. I can't tell you how much I love hearing someone say, I don't understand hate. Honest to God. What a buzz. What a buzz. Wow. Thank you, Jane. You made my day. Head pounding. You know what? Can we get some prayers for Jane? Jane is Jane's unique. We're all unique. Some people are unique in ways that make them more special to the human eye. Jane's one of those people. I mean that. And I hope you feel better quickly. The moon wasn't precisely where it is, we'd be screwed. I don't think that's random either. You know what else is kind of fun? If the moon was any other distance away, the solar eclipse wouldn't happen the way they do. Have you ever wondered why people who talk about flat Earth, right? Because what they'll say is, if you look at a quarter, it looks round unless you look at it from its side. What are the odds that every single eclipse we ever had never put a stripe across the sun? Ding, 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 ding. I rest my case. All that other stuff, that ought to do it. The amino acids coming through the cosmos. Chef, I'll take it. Here's the other thing. No lie. So if it's very hard to get information these days, I can put up a video right now. We could do a reaction video on it that says, we're effed. True story. Because AI Atlas is going to slam into to Mars. It's going to absolutely pulverize it, which means all of that debris will come smash into Earth about a decade later. Now, I can't find anything to back that up, but there are about 5 videos that say that. There are other videos that say that R2 is actually 400 miles across. It's way bigger than we ever thought it was. There's nothing to back that up either. AI is cranking out videos they know people will watch, and it is causing misinformation in a way that Operation Blue Book used to be pretty good at back when the United States of America was really invested in things like that. If the world was flat, cats would have knocked everything off the edges by now.
That's awesome.
You know something? With all due respect to every great thing that anyone has said here today, that's the greatest comment of the day. Anne from Massachusetts says, I unfortunately do understand hate. People hurt people, and if you don't have, let me blow that up because these glasses are wearing out. They're not as, they don't work as well as they used to, Oh, I missed it. And I really liked what you're saying. There we go. I unfortunately do understand hate. People hurt people, and if you don't have a higher power, I think it's really hard to let hate go. Yeah, well, I agree with that. Now, I will say this. I know people who are incredibly kind who don't have a belief in God. I do. I don't know 100 of them, but I do know some. There are good people that have their own beliefs, and I don't have a problem with any of that. But I will tell you this. Before I believed that I answered to a higher power, I'd have come in your house and stolen from you. I promise you.
I'd kick the door down.
Johnny would kick the door down on the count of 4 on a 10 count at 11:59 on a Wednesday afternoon in an apartment complex. Tommy, you were there.
I'm a different person today.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do a show or two in the next 2 or 3 days, and you're either going to love me or hate me when they're over. But I hope that either way we can have a healthy conversation and maybe even a debate. You know, we don't have to agree on things. Could science and religion exist together? Because I see a combination of both. You know something?
That's a great quote.
You're just not going to make it in this world because you're parking in the middle. And we know that you have to be on the far left or the far right so that we can figure out who you are, catalog you, sell your information to somebody, and then hate you if appropriate. I agree with you 100%. 100%. You think there's a reason that they didn't nickname the Higgs boson the God particle? You don't think that there are people in science that are going, hey, wait a second, maybe you can create something from nothing, right? Maybe all of the things that we've been saying for all of these years aren't so freaking true. How about just having the ball sack to go, I'll hear you out. My faith will hold up. How about yours? Let's have a conversation. I promise you. You can talk to me about faith that isn't mine. It's not going to rock me. I have no fear of that. I promise it will hold up. Hopefully you guys are the same. Hopefully we can talk about all kinds of things, but that's not what I'm talking about for the shows that are coming up. I'm going to talk about some uncomfortable subjects that we need to talk about. And I have nothing but faith that you're going to be here the way you always have, leaving really intelligent comments. And you know something? I think Johnny's probably going to get a little bit more bold. And I hate to say it because I really do have an awful lot of faith in my higher power. But until the papers came today, there's a lot of people that would have liked to have stopped this from happening. You failed. But I think that in the back of our mind, even if we didn't want to admit it, there were moments where we were tense. You know what I mean? I mean, not for nothing, but I didn't hit it out of the park for the first half of my life. However, beautifully, this is a country that looks for rehabilitation, and there's nothing like 3,700 videos on the lifeboat to show some rehabilitation. Sorry, I'm patting your back, not mine. I promise you, I'm patting your back. There's a lot of people in here that have said a lot of really beautiful things about the boat, not about me, but about how this has been. What papers? I am becoming Ecuadorian. This is going to be my home for the rest of my life. This isn't a vacation. This isn't me stepping away. I came here because I wanted to feel safe. I didn't want the people who hate me to be going after me the way they were. And I fell in love with the people. The land's pretty cool. The view is awesome, but food is banging. The food is banging, but I fell in love with the people. This is a very different culture. This is a very different society, and we could learn a lot from it. And it's going to give me an opportunity to talk to you and to be a lot more bold. Because this hurts paychecks. It hurts paychecks. I wouldn't be able to afford to live saying the things that I'm saying if I lived in the United States. That's an added bonus. That's an added bonus. And anytime two things come together, pay attention. Pay attention. If your money starts dropping, yeah, the dental work here would blow your mind. You come down and get an entire full grill like they do for 40 grand in the United States for about $3 grand, and they're good at it. I have had dental work here, and it was unlike anything I have ever experienced in my life. It was the most pleasant experience I've ever had at a dentist. I'll tell the story real quick before I end. I got there because I screwed the time up when the place opened. So I'm trying to look in through the glass, and there's a pair of eyes poking out at me. And at the time, I'm literally pouring water into my mouth and letting it drop out because it was stopping the pain. And the guy opened the door and said, hurting? Didn't know a lot of English. I went, the worst. And he went, come on in. This was a half hour early. Took me in a chair. 30 seconds later, they were shoving Novocaine into my jaw. I filled out nothing in paperwork until it was time that he wrote me a prescription for a non-narcotic pain medication. They don't do narcotic pain medication here unless you've lost a couple of limbs. They're pretty serious about that, which I think is awesome. There's nobody that's catching a habit because they hurt their foot. That doesn't happen here. They have some NSAIDs, some non-steroidal anti-inflammatories that make ibuprofen and Motrin look like Skittles. I'm happy for you. I thought you couldn't do that for a couple of years. Oh, no. It'll be a couple of years before I'm a citizen. Think of this. It's like a green card, right? You get your green card. It says you can stay. And if you don't screw up at the end of the green card, you become an American. Same thing here. What we were getting was what's called a working visa. In our case, a digital nomad visa and an investment visa. Buying property here. This is where we're going to lay down our roots. And the people are fantastic, and the food is great, and it's liberating in a way that I'm able to speak in ways that I may not have been bold enough to do in the past. I dig that. But there's a lot of people that are being a lot more bold than they used to. This is catching on, and that's a beautiful thing. I wish I could show you a cat in a basket right now, but that lazy vermin is sleeping on a couch. We're going to have to start renegotiating her contract. Having some real issues with Squirrel Nut Zipper. What are you doing? Come on, they're waiting on you. Squirrel. Nothing. The ears move. She didn't even turn around to look at me. It's awful. All right, people. Between now and the next time I see you, question everything. For real. I promise you, if the press is telling you something, it's not because it wants you to know information. It's because it wants to steer you. You sure you don't want to make an appearance? What has gotten into you? You're better than this. You used to be a pro. All right, people, between now and the next time I see you, put a little love in your heart. I'm Tommy, and we'll see you on the next one. I love you guys. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. My recently pink, red turning heart. Dark for a while. God bless everybody. See you on the next one.